Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News, and Michael A., star of Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise, has officially announced his breakup from Danielle. We've speculated for over a month now that he is broken up. Of course, Michael went on the She's All Batch podcast and said, they keep their relationship private. They were probably broken up at that time, but it's not up to us when they announce it. That's on them. That's for them to work through. Maybe you go on a break, you see how it is before things get finalized. And then they were finalized in the last week. Danielle deleted any remnants of Michael from her social media page, as you do. She posted this, celebrating my female friendships. And as we said, when you lean into your femininity, you lean out of your relationship. Now, it's always good to lean into your femininity, ladies and men. Feminine energy, anybody who wants to lean into their feminine energy can. The point being this was kind of the final comment I think we'll get from Danielle. And now we've got Michael commenting here. He was on Trading Secrets. And I have to say, it absolutely sucks when you share your love story and then it doesn't work out. That sucks. I feel for Michael here. It's brave for the people that went on the show to talk about these types of things. Here we had Michael, this was 6 months ago, just sharing his love story on the Love Fest, which is, of course, Charlene and Andy have these great conversations with lovers. My wife and I were on this podcast, and, people, unfortunately watch these afterwards and go, oh, here's how things went wrong or whatnot. But they were there 6 months ago talking about how they fight, and, there's never clues. Is this the thing that led to the breakup or not? Usually, in most cases, you just realize you're not compatible. That's what Michael says here. Have a listen.
You go in Paradise, you got all these things going on. You got side hustle, you got rental projects, you have your business, you now have influencing.
Yeah.
You now also have a significant other.
Yeah.
Danny.
Yeah.
So you get off the show, Danny and you are together. There's been some discussions out there now about what's going on. There's some photos on Instagram that have been deleted. We don't have to talk about this. We can talk about this. It's up to you. How's everything going?
Oh, man. Smooth. It's still incredibly fresh. I guess I'll just come out with it. We're not together anymore. Yeah. It's really, it's not what.
And look, who's better to talk about this with Michael than Jason? Only several months removed from the ending of his engagement. So, of course, I'm sure this was mentioned beforehand, like negotiated. Hey, I'm going to ask you about this. But in these types of podcasts, what you'll hear is some choice editing. Respectfully, unless there was some technological issue, it sounds like some things were clipped out, which could just be Michael, being befuddled and not knowing what he wanted to say, or deciding to clip out parts to, for their public image. Totally respectable.
We planned. We both threw a lot into this relationship, and it's really awful when it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Again, like what we were talking about before, you make your plan, you see your future. You start working towards it. And then when things don't work out, when you realize that love is there, but you're not necessarily compatible.
Sure.
You mourn the loss, not of just that person and that friend in your life, but also the future that you had envisioned. And it's to no fault of hers. She poured everything into this.
Yeah.
And I just have so much admiration. And I guess that's it. Right now we're still, working through some things, and trying to stay close.
Yeah.
But last couple months have been really
tough.
Yeah, really tough.
And as we see with the human dynamic, the human condition, in most cases, I think maybe not all cases, but in a lot of cases in Bachelor Nation, you say you want to stay friends, or you say you want to remain close and this and that. And then as you slowly pull away, one party might realize the other party was taking advantage of them. I'm not saying this happened here whatsoever, but if you look at someone like John Hersey, Katie Thurston, they're like, we're going to be friends after. Then 6 months later, Katie's like, oh yeah, he was using me, which again, doesn't mean it was true. It just means that's what she felt was true. So the fact that Danielle moved to Ohio, to be closer to Michael, to live in his town, I believe, of Akron, the great Renaissance town of Akron, Ohio. All joking aside, Ohio. Don't worry, it's good. But she moved there for him. Will there be resentment? Will there be bitterness? If there is, it will surface. Resentment and bitterness always do surface, which is a reminder for us to always meditate and release those things in healthy ways so we don't just become an asshole. Because if you're an asshole, you're that way because you're bitter, you're resentful. Why, woe is me type of deal. If you feel that way, do some deep breaths and work on have a sound bath or something. Just get that out of you because it's only going to make you sick.
Tough.
Yeah. I can connect with that. I understand that.
Yeah.
See you. I hear you.
Thank you, man.
I think Danny's great. I think you're great. I wish both you guys the best path forward. And it's wild, all the curveballs and the lefts and the rights and the ups and downs that you go through in life. This is obviously another one for you.
Yeah.
But then you just continue to move forward.
Starting over again.
Yeah.
It is always frightening.
Yeah. I feel that.
I know you do.
Yep.
It's really frightening, but it's a part of it. I know that time will heal because I've felt that before.
Yeah.
So what's interesting with this relationship, you might remember, I believe Michael didn't say he loved her until on one of the reunion shows. And they've been very careful. They've got very unique and different circumstances, but from far away, from a distance, it looks very similar, which doesn't always help with a relationship. That being that his wife died of cancer, and that being that Danielle's fiance died of a drug overdose. Now, again, completely separate types of traumas, and everyone uniquely deals with trauma differently, but I think from an audience standpoint, we were like, ooh, they'd be good for each other, which is super infantilizing if you ask me. It's super just like, really, that's it? Now, it takes a lot to find your soulmate, to find someone who complements you, and it doesn't, and someone who complements you doesn't necessarily mean they went through the same journey as you. No, but that could have been the case, but it's like for an entree for dinner, do you just want steak complemented by steak? No, you want steak complemented by maybe garlic mashed potatoes, maybe some steamed green beans, and and again, I'm not saying that their circumstances were so similar that they were off-putting to each other, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done in either of those situations to deal with the tragic trauma that might have, resulted from losing your loved one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it any less difficult.
Exactly. If I try and even draw, and it's hard to do it, but draw parallels to when you go through those personal resets to professional resets, the big connection is uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's like when you leave a job or you leave a career, you take a shot, or you're in a relationship, and you all these things, career, work, life, money, all these things, you have an understanding of what the future will be based on what you've experienced yesterday.
Yeah.
And when that future in all different areas and a lot of things we've talked about shifts pretty quickly, it rattles your cage a little bit. I do think, and you've experienced this much more than I have, it's a great time to get recentered.
Yeah.
To be, quite frankly, a little selfish, to start looking within and say, okay, I'm rattled at the core. What's keeping me on my feet? Where do I want to take this? How do I grow from what just happened? And also, what do I want out of this short time we have here? Because it goes back to one of the first comments you had made. And one of the first comments you had made, you have a plan, and then life has a plan for you. And I think in work life, in personal life, in money management, all those things connect to exactly this theme, one that we're talking about.
I agree. And the uncertainty is so scary, but again, that's where the growth happens.
Yeah.
It's where it always happens, is that uncertainty of stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. So I don't have to name all the setbacks that you've gone through. You have already talked to them, everyone that's listening.
Yeah.
So what I'll say is, given all the different setbacks and now another one that you have, what is some advice you'd give to someone that's feeling some setback right now, work, financially, or personally?
I would say, believe in yourself. Take chances. Bet on yourself. A lot of times, just through conversations I've had with people, is that they think that the cost of success is so high because of what they have to give up of themselves, sacrifice in order to achieve that.
Yeah.
But wait till they see the bill for regret.
Wow. It's deep.
Yeah. It's way worse. The
Let's repeat that for those in the back. The cost of success is very great, but wait till you get the bill for regret. That's, so many people in the world that I work in and live in talk about regret, talk about thinking they were too old to start this new venture. Well, you're never going to be younger than you are today. And there's so many people out there that played it safe. They did what they were supposed to do. They did the safe route. They took the job that was decent paying and it had a health care and this and that and all of that. And then when they get laid off or lose their job to automation or whatever issues may exist out there, they realize, what was this all worth if I didn't love what I was doing? And the same can be said for relationships. It might be very tough for Michael and Danielle and Jason and Caitlin and everybody who goes through a breakup. It might be very tough in the moment, but you got to pursue the unknown. Assuming the relationship's not meant to be, which in these cases it wasn't because they didn't work out, you have to pursue the unknown. Growth happens during uncertainty. Very interesting stuff, folks. Let's play the one last clip here, and then we'll get out of here.
Again, that's another theme that's applicable to relationships or work.
You have to try.
Identical, those correlate.
You have to dive in. You have to move.
Yeah.
You may make a mistake, but it's okay. It's okay. The worst thing to do is to be so paralyzed by the fear of not being successful and not being able to achieve that you never play the game.
Yeah.
You've got nothing to win.
Yeah.
You prove nothing to yourself. And that is very expensive.
That's a really good quote, a really good trading secret.
Very expensive to not play the game. Michael's played the game, and he's going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to follow it. More content coming your way later on today. If you want to, check out Bachelor Rush Hour, the hit podcast, for all afternoon, pop culture news and things that come out last minute. And also, don't forget, if you want to check out the Dave Neal Show, just type in Dave Neal Show, and you're going to get my brand new episode with Jared. And we talked about his journey from busboy to Bachelor fame. We discussed his business owning a coffee shop and lounge and how that relates to his business as an influencer. You're going to love this conversation. It's available right now. Click this link and go watch. We'll be back with more content right after this.